That's better. I pulled up my TikTok. I just pulled up my TikTok and my TikTok was in light mode and it was all bright. It's like, what in the world is going on? Hey Tyson, how you doing? I'm doing good. Doing good. Just getting a little more work done in this cube here. Alright, where am I at here? Okay. Good evening, everyone. How you doing? My name's Sean. I run mailworks.com. I design and sell chainmail themed apparel and accessories. And I make chainmail. And right now I'm working on this large cube, and I'll explain that a little bit. This is a chainmail jelly cube. They're tons of fun for anyone who's never had the opportunity to fidget with one. The weave used to make them is called Japanese 4-in-1, and that just means that every ring has 4 rings going through it. It's the same pattern that I'm using for this giant cube. All the big rings, except for the ones on the outside, should have 4 rings going through it. So, well, they will have 4 rings going through it. And I've got a ton of work to do, but little by little, it will get done. Rachel, how you doing? How's your day been? So we got a couple people watching. This is a hobby of mine. I've been doing it for a long time. I'm okay at it. Some people might think like, oh wow, that's an amazing project, and it is. Will the jelly cube stop an arrow? Let's see here. Okay. An arrow? Yeah, this is aluminum. I'm gonna go with probably. Right? Organized chaos with day job. Eldest daughter's birthday. Fun. I got a birthday coming up. Thank you for sharing the live. I appreciate it. This would, I think, most likely stop an arrow, unless it was like from a ballista or something, right? It would not stop a round. It's aluminum. It's like stacking up 100 tin cans and, seeing how many a round goes through, and it would basically go through all of it. A lot of people have requested that I fire a projectile at this, and thank you. I'll let him know. Yeah, he's turning the big 1-0, double digits. A lot of people have requested that I fire a projectile at this, and since it's aluminum, it would just go right through it. I might make a steel one at some point and, fire around at it and see what happens. But I've got a whole lot of stuff to do before I can play around with projects like that. So, I think it would definitely stop an arrow. But it's always physics, right? How big is the arrow? How many pounds of pressure are behind it? Could you design an arrow that could pierce that cube? Probably. But like my kid's compound bow, if you fired an arrow out of that at the cube, it would most likely stop it. Back to making Trizantine chain tonight. This time in continuous chain instead of in units. I find that I have a 9-foot full chain of full Persian. Just because I didn't know what I was doing with it at first, and then once I decided to make a ringception piece out of it, I just kept making the one long continuous chain because I didn't want to keep restarting full Persian over and over again. Alright, so what I'm doing, every large ring on this big cube has 4 smaller Byzantine chains on it. And that is because these big rings are not round, they have a tendency to slide past each other, whereas if they had been round, they would have held each other in place. So I'm adding the smaller Byzantine chains to each large ring so that they will help hold everything rigid. So, and they're a pain in the butt because after the first row, there's no room to weave them directly on where I need to go. And they're just loose enough to kind of slide down each of these big rings into place. And yeah, it's quite the pain. I had a lot of people ask me if I still had fingerprints after working with this. And I do. But like my touchscreen doesn't recognize my fingerprints very easily. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate you. So, I had an adventurous day today. Went to the orthodontist. My kiddo had a bracket pop off, and the wire came disconnected from one of the brackets in the back of his mouth. So that was fun. He was busy freaking out last night. Hence, it's part of the reason why I was not on last night. So, got him to the orthodontist, got that taken care of, and I made sure that they re-educated him on how, braces are basically super fragile, and he needs to treat them like he has very precious porcelain china in his mouth. So, we'll see how that goes. I really don't want to be taking him to the orthodontist all that often, but we got lucky because we had an appointment for the 9th of August. The Adventure of Braces, yeah, it's super fun so far. We were going to have to wait till August 9th, but they were able to get us in this morning. So that was a different office than the one we normally go to. The same business, but it was an hour away. Spent an hour there and an hour on the way back. 2 of your 3 are in them. That's super fun. I don't envy you at all. But we got them fixed and they're back. Everything's in place. Part of why they broke off was ignorance on our part, right? Like you really need to cut up their food when dealing with braces, and I didn't realize that. I thought he was eating a burger when the first bracket came off, so I didn't cut it up at all. I didn't think anything about it. I thought, oh, burgers aren't on the list of things that he can't eat, so he should be fine, right? Nope. So we are coming up with creative ideas for soft foods so he doesn't get bored. As I've got macaroni and mashed potatoes in the fridge, so have to come up with a few more ideas than that. Come on. Slide down. There you go. Oh, so much fun. Squeezing these down where I need them to go. It's fine. It's not that big of an ordeal, but alright. This needs to come down too. So, Cleopatra, how you doing? No tearing food of any kind with the teeth. Just chop the stuff up smaller. Yeah. Veggies that are cooked a bit longer. Super soft veggies. Cleopatra, this is a chainmail sculpture I'm working on. Hopefully I will have a lot of them at some point and put them on display somewhere one day. We'll see if I ever get to that point. But this is a chainmail jelly cube, and that is what I'm modeling this off after. I'm using the same weave, but if you look close, you can see that I'm using small rings to make big rings, and then weaving the big rings together. You know what I'm going to do with this? I'm going to take a ring out and see if we can give it enough space to get past this one ring, because it's not wanting to move. So, and then once it is in its final form of cube shape, I will, it's going to hang suspended with a square frame around it. And it's going to look super cool, and there may be some lighting involved. We'll see. That's the goal. Alright, this one does not want to move. So, and tonight while I'm streaming, I'm going to be adding some more big, larger rings here, I hope. Come on, don't do that to me. I think I totally just screwed the pooch on this. Anyway, yeah, so ideally it is it will end up being a piece of art and end up in some rich person's home after they pay me a lot of money for it. That's the hope. A man can dream, right? There we go. Okay, now a large ring. Change out my pliers here. Go upstairs, kiddo. Go upstairs. Go upstairs. Because I'm down here streaming right now. I love you too. Thank you for sharing the live. Appreciate you. So, let me explain what I'm doing. I have a bunch of these chains, right? Like a bunch. These were originally all the chains that I thought I would need, right? And since I have so many leftover rings over here, I've debated making the project larger. So I take the chain and then I weave it into where I want it and turn it into a ring and add it to the cube, and it slowly goes larger and larger, right? And then over time, one ring at a time, it eventually becomes the desired object. So one thing I do need to pay attention to is the way these rings are oriented. This one is going to be laying flat. So I need to make sure it matches all the flat rings, and it looks like it does. So there is on the back here, there's an orientation of these rings, right? You want them all going the same direction, right? And it's not necessary. There's nothing wrong with the rings facing a different direction. I just think that it's one of those attention to detail things, and I'm not much of an artist, but I think it's important. Like one day when this is on Antiques Roadshow, some gallerist, you know, who's really knowledgeable. What do they call those people that do all the assessments of the pieces people bring in? I don't know what they're called. But one of those people is going to be like, and notice how all the large rings are oriented in the same direction. Right? And me watching from heaven will be like, yes, someone noticed. Like, it's not an important thing to do at all, except as just an attention to detail thing. All right. Yeah. Doing the inside rings here was a pain in the butt. This is going so much faster already. Knock on wood. I say that and then, you know, everything crumbles. All right. So I weighed this the other day. I think it was over 12 pounds when I weighed it. Or no, it was over 10 pounds when I weighed it. And I hadn't even started on the third layer yet. So I think it's over 12 at this point. I'm going to have to get a like a bathroom scale or something, because I don't think my kitchen scale is going to cut it. The reality is at the end of the day, this will probably weigh around 75 pounds if I did my math right. And so it's going to need a big steel frame to suspend it from, which is something I was talking about on the last stream I did. It's like the quality finish of a project, right? I'm no expert at it, but I try to make sure that all of, say, my jewelry pieces, I want them to look like they were manufactured in a factory, right? That's the kind of polish, the finish I want them to have. And it's the same with art pieces, right? Like, I can make an art piece all day long, but if it's just a lump that sits on a desk, it's really just a lump it's a big paperweight, right? But if I build a large diamond, I'll have to draw it out what I'm thinking. Or I should say the idea I stole from a friend of mine. Here. Okay, so base, how to draw a cube 101. Right, this will hang here, and then have another doodad around it. Okay. And then light coming up. Okay. So there's the cube being suspended in this diamond frame, right? And that turns it from this giant paperweight into an art piece on display. Or at least in my head it does, right? Like, if I walked into someone's house and I saw that with a giant lump of metal on their shelf, I would think, oh, that's something, or if it's just sitting on their desk or whatever. Even as cool as this giant lump of metal is, in the wrong setting, it's still just a giant lump of metal. So I think that by building a display for it and everything. And then that's the fun question too. Do you build the square out of round bar or square bar? What kind of chain are you going to use to suspend the cube? The display, the base, is a whole other art project in and of itself. So there is a place called Milwaukee Blacksmith, just like 45 minutes north of me. I was trying to get my kid to go and take a class with me up there, but he didn't want to. He's been talking about being a blacksmith since he saw Forged in Fire like 5 years ago, right? And finally, I was like, okay, he's old enough, we can go. And he chickened out on me. He didn't want to go. So, but I forget the guy's name that runs it. It's a family business. Him and a bunch of his kids work there. And they give classes and they do art projects and stuff. So, I don't know what it would cost me. You know, clearly it would be cheaper if my neighbor welded together a base for me. But I don't know what the quality of work my neighbor can do. So, do I go up there and talk to the people at Milwaukee Blacksmith and be like, yo, I need to display this piece. Can you build a base for me? I don't know how much that would cost me. And I don't know where else to get something like that done. You know what I mean? And attempting to do it myself and like going out and buying a welder and buying the materials and relearning how to weld. I've done about 10 minutes of welding back in high school, and that was 27 years ago, 26 years ago. So it's been quite a bit since I've welded anything. Trab192, how you doing? I am making a large sculptural art piece out of chainmail. It is a cube and it's going to be suspended in a display. And right now we're taking the big rings. The big rings are made up of small rings. So I made these chains, turned them into rings, right? And then we weave them onto the project here, and eventually we will have a finished product. So, Hillbilly Customs, how you doing? So this is kind of how far we are on our third layer, right, that we're working on up top here. And we got a long way to go, but this is getting too heavy to lift, right? Like I have some neck issues, and we're reaching a point where it's like it hurts to lift, but I can tolerate it. We're reaching a point where I'm not going to be able to do that, so it's going to be fun. Started a new job? Right on. What you doing now? All right. So, factory work? Right on. There's something I've never done. Where I grew up in Boise, Idaho, there's no industry there. There's agriculture, and there is there was Micron and Hewlett-Packard, right? And none of the schools like get you ready to go work at either of those two places, right? Something's wrong here. I can't tell what it is. It's not laying the way it's supposed to. Trying to get used to nights? Fun. I don't miss nights. I used to do 12-hour shifts at night for nursing. I don't miss it in the slightest. Is that the issue? That is the issue. Okay. I went through too many rings. See if that fixes it. Enjoy being home every day? Right on. There we go. Now it's doing what I want it to do. Yeah. It's nice when you have a job change that works out. You know? Especially, like, when you're young, you want to make a lot of money. So you work all the time. And you don't care. You take nights and weekends and you work holidays. And it doesn't matter to you because you weren't going to be doing anything else on those holidays. And then as you get older, right, you just want to trade that time to be with family. It's like, I am a stay-at-home dad now, and I get up, give my kid some breakfast when he gets up, hang out with him for a little bit, come down here, do a little work, go out in the yard. I get to have him come help me. He's old enough to help out in the yard now. Oh, and then we do lunch, a little more work. Then mama comes home. When you're old, you still want money? Yeah, but your priorities change. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't want to be working a job where I'm gone all the time at this stage of my life. Whereas before, I was gone all the time because I was in the military and I was all over the place. Alright, this one ends surprisingly smoothly. I love it. Yeah. This is going to sit here. So we'll add some rings right here and here. Right? Well, first we got to add some black and stainless to hold this in place. Back to work. Alrighty, we'll see you. Thanks for stopping by, buddy. If you're looking for really cool sign work, I don't have it here in front of me, but Hillbilly Customs made me a custom wooden sign for my logo and my business name. You should go check them out, Hillbilly Custom, over on Facebook. And they're on TikTok. Highly recommended. I really like what he came up with. I just haven't, like, I have it on my, the sign on my window lead. It's a, what is it? There's like a 6-inch ledge that sticks out from all the windows in my basement. I have an English basement, so there's 4 windows in the back of the basement. And a ledge that has, 6 to 8 inches sticking out from the wall. And that's where like a lot of my chainmail stuff is sitting on display. I had to go through and vacuum up all the spiders and spider webs earlier today because it was getting a little messy. But other than that, it's a great place to display them. And that's where I have the sign Hillbilly Custom made me right now. It's like I'm going to put it up on the wall because it came with the little hook deal to hang it on the wall, right? So professional work. Everything's ready to go when you get your stuff from him. I have a couple places in mind, and I haven't got back to hanging up artwork down here in the basement yet. So I've got the Finnegan's Wake inlay that I recently finished. I've got that I got to put up on the wall. So when I put that up, I will probably figure out where I want to put the sign. All right, that's one. So, no other real eventful stuff going on today, and for that I'm grateful. I'm 100% okay with boring days. I learned a long time ago working as a nurse on shift that I preferred boring shifts because when nursing shifts get exciting, that's usually bad. It's like usually someone is having a very bad time. And that just kind of rolled over into my personal life. I don't want exciting. I want regular and repetitive and almost downright boring. Uh-oh, I hear some thunder and lightning. Don't fall. Supposed to rain all day and then it never did, and now we have thunder and lightning. So I guess that storm finally showed up. It's been hot for the last couple days. Yesterday it was just miserable outside. It's like 96 degrees, which is really hot for here, but it's also like ridiculously humid. So wasn't any fun to be outside yesterday. Not that I was outside. I spent like the whole day in air conditioning down here in the basement. So much so that I was cold. It's one of those you just walk outside and you're instantly sweating. Alright. Come on. That one doesn't want to move at all. So, thank you for sharing the live. I appreciate you. We're here hanging out, making some chainmail. I think that's probably 1, 2, 3. That's probably tight enough. All right, up next. Okay, we got our big ring here. We got a couple rings ready to go. Change out our pliers. Make sure we are oriented the correct direction. And we get this one put in. There are, on this layer, right, there's 21 rings. On the middle layer here, there's 16 big rings, and then 21 layers on the 21 rings on the bottom layer. So it's 21, 16, 21, 16, 21 for a total of 95 rings. That was the original, or 95 large rings, right? That was the original plan. That was all I was going to do. And as things went along, plans change, and I got ideas and thoughts, and started picturing how I really wanted this to end up. So it's going to end up being a little bit larger than that. I want to do, essentially what I want to do is it's, I don't know how to describe it. It's a cube, but it doesn't have the corners, right? So I'm going to extend each side by a row, right? But they're not going to have the corners. I don't know if this is a good way to explain it or not, right? So, I'm going to try and... This is the shape it's going to be when it's done, right? If these were just like solid cubes, right? It's going to be a cube without the corners. And that's going to make the, well, it's going to make this shape, which actually I just realized that, and it was completely unintentional. So it won't be cube shaped. I don't know what you call that shape. Okay, I did orient this the right way? Yes. Okay. So, and then, I don't know who's, been hanging out like the whole time or anything, but this is kind of how I want to display it. Right here, that's the cube in the center. Okay? And some, like, round bar making a square. Okay, cube in the center, some round bar, some square bar. Right? Suspended. So, once I have that display, do I leave the round bar or the square bar up? Let's say I use square bar, right, to make the display. Do I then wrap the bar in chainmail? Right? Whether it's round or square, doesn't matter. Like, I don't know. How much time do I want to spend on the project and the display and, you know what I mean? Or do I just leave the display bare with the focus being on the chainmail cube in the center of it? Or maybe some slight chainmail accents. Sup, dude? Hope you had a good day. I did. Got some much needed repair to my kid's braces done. And he's feeling better. It's like bracket came off and there was a loose wire, and like the worst part about it was he was panicking. Like, he wasn't necessarily hurt, he was just scared. Right? So we finally talked him through what was going to happen last night. Uh-oh, I missed a ring. And then we were able to go get his mouth fixed this morning. So now that he is feeling better, and now that we are all more educated on the fragility of braces. One of the issues, too, is that he's got silver caps on some of his back molars. And the bracket that is attached to the silver cap, I guess they have a real hard time, wow, ow, getting those to adhere to metal. And they come off, the brackets come off the metal teeth a lot. I just jabbed my boob. Ew. Be careful when you're making chainmail. You can get hurt. Where am I going here? There. Come on. I know there's room in here for this. Wow. No, it wasn't the needle nose, but I have gotten myself with needle nose before. That is not fun. The worst, though, is when I'm, like, trying to close a ring and I drag these across my knuckles, right? Or you'll be closing a ring and you get yourself right in the wrist. It's like, for anyone who's considering starting a hobby that uses pliers, whether it's like wire work or bead work, I have heard horror stories about the injuries from chain nose pliers. There we go. It happened with the Zerons on stream, yeah. And if you look at the profile of chain nose pliers, they just look wicked sharp. So a 70-year-old, well, I don't know if they're 70. Let's see here. I'm 42. I got these from my grandpa when I first started doing this. So let's say he had them for 10, 15 years before he gave them to me, right? It was probably longer. So these have got to be like 30, 40 years old. What'd I say initially? 70? Probably not 70. Probably closer to 40, right? These are like, there's no sharp edges on them, you know. You hit yourself with these, it hurts, but it's not the end of the world. The 483s, right? Fresh pair of 483 Zerons. Those are dangerous. Just be careful. You won't, you know. You won't hurt yourself too bad, but it's definitely not going to feel good. You have a wicked scar? Yeah. Yep. All right, so Mac, what'd you get up to today? I hope you had a good day too. And thank you for asking. So glad I remembered to be polite to people who show up and comment 3 minutes after they say something. I'm a polite person. I get there eventually. I'm just oblivious to how I should interact with other humans. Your day was eventful? Right on. Well, eventful can be good or bad. Hope it was good. You don't remember eating a volcano, but you must have. Oh, no. I've had those days. Yeah. Days when you can't take enough Imodium, Pepto-Bismol, Prilosec, and Tums. Yeah, you had to leave work early. Oh no. That's no bueno. Well, I hope you start feeling better soon. You also bought a new car on Tuesday? It's a car you've wanted for years? Right on. Is it a new car or is it new to you? What kind of car is it? And, like, are you happy now that you've had it for a day? Is it everything you ever dreamed of? Like my brother-in-law has a Cutlass, and I don't know the year, and he's got a Mustang. I think it's a 67 fastback Mustang, I believe. 2020 Ford Fusion Hybrid. Nice. Right on. That's practically new. 4-year-old car in this economy. Yeah, he's got the cool cars, right? He's a mechanic, and so he knows how to work on them and knows all the people that do quality work like paint and upholstery, and he can do all the engine work himself and all the upgrades and whatnot. But and you know, most, like, I worked in a hot rod shop for, like, I don't know, a summer. Shortly before I joined the military, and that never amounted to much, but all the guys there, they wanted 60s, 70s era vehicles, and I've never been much of a car guy until I got older. Right. I had a 72 International Scout 2. And I've had a 79 International. The 79, I never got it to run. I never got it to run. So that, I'm not qualified to work on cars. I could do a little bit of work, but I know a whole lot more now than what I did when I had my 79. But also, like, I could never, like, take on a project car. You know what I mean? I'm not that knowledgeable. And it's not something I'm passionate about, and it's not a niche of mine or anything. I have my brother-in-law who works on cars, who knows everything, and is like, if I have a problem, I go to him, right? Whereas if he has a problem with chainmail, he would come to me, right? I don't think he'll ever have a problem with chainmail. It's not his thing. But should that circumstance somehow arrive, right? I'm ready if he needs my help. So I take all my cars to him to work on because I can't do much. So I never had that bug to have, like, the fast sports car or anything. Until later in life, I had this friend in high school. His name was Dale, and he was a year behind me. And he had a used Porsche from way back in the day. And like, I never understood his obsession with them. But he like had a Porsche jacket as a sophomore in high school, and it's like, okay, like, you love Porsches. I don't understand it at all. And that was also like, okay, like my passion, I think, is very obviously chainmail, right? I design and sell chainmail themed apparel. I make a lot of stuff out of chainmail. I enjoy myself doing it. I like learning about the topic, right? This is clearly what I'm into. And I didn't understand people's passions until I was much older, right? I always just thought it was odd that they'd be into this thing. I didn't understand why they were so into it until I realized that it's like they get their dopamine from this. This is what gets them up every morning and to go to work so that they can come home and do, cars or wood carving or furniture build, whatever, underwater basket weaving. Okay, it's like they just love it for some weird reason. So Dale had a Porsche, and I never understood why he liked them. And then that always stuck in the back of my mind, and I kept looking at Porsches. Every time I'd see a Porsche, I'd think of Dale. And finally, I got a neighbor who has two Porsches. One's a GT350. I forget what the model is. It's the race car model, right? It's got one seat, and he takes it to the track and races it. And then he has another one, same model, just not the racetrack version. And holy crap, those things shit and get like crazy. It's like, good Lord. So if I ever get a fast sports car, it's like, I want a Porsche. Not that that's my thing, and not that I would ever buy one, because I'm far more likely to get like a resto-modded International Scout 2. If I was like rich and money was no object, I just have this big, square, 4-wheel drive vehicle where the steering wheel shakes back and forth real bad, and the speedometer ticks and everything. You don't know how fast you're going. You get 7 miles to the gallon if you're going downhill with the wind at your back. And for some reason, I've always just liked them. It's like I thought about getting the new, a new Bronco, right? The full-size ones. And, like, I think they did everything right on the Bronco except put a big enough engine in it. I really think putting a larger engine than a 2.3 liter EcoBoost V6. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember what it is. But it's like I have a 3.5 liter V6 in my F-150. And it's a nice engine and everything. But if I'm going to get a Bronco, it's 4-wheel drive. I want to go places with it. I want to be able to haul stuff with it. And they're only rated for like 3,500 pounds or 9,000. I think it's 3,500. I think the new Bronco is a sissy version. Well, compared to what? What's the real? You like the original Bronco? Because I think that the towing capacity for that is only like 3,000 pounds, right? But they have Ford engines that can tow 9,000 pounds, which is what my F-150 is rated for. 12,000 pounds, 20,000 pounds. Stick one of those in a Bronco, and I am all of a sudden interested, because then it can be my toy hauler. Not that I have any toys, but I would like to get some someday. Yeah, I don't know why they didn't go that route. Yeah, I mean, just more power. Okay, more power, and I'd be more interested. Push comes to shove, I'd own one, no problem. But I don't need a new vehicle right now. I don't need a new vehicle payment right now. Excuse me. One day I will get a new vehicle. I'm hoping my truck will last another 10 years, knock on wood. Every year I drop $3,000 to $4,000 into it on maintenance because it's getting up there. What was the other? So International Scout 2 is only rated for like 3,500 pounds. Old School Broncos, 3,500 pounds, something like that. Right? And the new ones, it's like the same towing capacity. So I just don't feel like they put enough oomph into that engine, you know? And I saw a guy take a Bronco and convert it to a single axle, convert it to a solid axle front and rear, whereas the current new Bronco has independent front suspension. And not that I'm a big four-wheel guy, but it's like I don't want to buy a vehicle that I feel like I have to soup up the engine on and then also, you know, make a bunch of modifications. I just want to buy a vehicle that I like, that is, you know, drive it off the lot and it's everything I want. And I like the look of the new Bronco, I just don't like the power applications. Alright, thank you for the follow, I appreciate you. Come on, get... I am running out. I've got five little strands of Byzantine left here to add to this. I'm gonna have to make some more. So if I were to go out and get a new vehicle, like the only thing on the market right now that I would want to get is a F-250 with the, I think it's the 6.8 liter V8 gas engine. I think the 7.2 is a diesel. Don't quote me on that. It's been a while since I bothered looking any of this up. But the F-250 has like a towing capacity where you can tow a trailer with some four-wheelers and a camper on the back, and it can haul it all without a problem. Oh, the puzzle piece of death. Have I used all the rounded rings? No, I got a bin of them right here. These are the ones that are fixed. And then I've got this container that's mostly full that need to be fixed. And then like a third of this container. Right. Can't quite tell how deep that is, but it's like a third maybe. You want a brand new DeLorean? Are they out? Like, I heard they were bringing them back. Are they officially out? I don't keep up. That's how disinterested I am in cars. I don't keep up with any of it. I just catch a few things here and there. It was a limited run? Oh, right on. So, they made 100 of them, and those 100 are going to be worth a couple $1 million in the next 30 years. So none of them are being driven, and they're all sitting in storage. For your bachelor party, you went to the DMC place in Humble? Right on. I don't know why I just thought of this, but is anyone in viewing, is anyone watching old enough to have seen Adventures in Babysitting? This is a random, completely random thought I just had. Okay. Yeah, they're the same thing, but updated under the hood and in the cab. Yeah. You love that movie? All right. So, the guy that plays Private Pile in... Now I can't think of the name of that movie. Not One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. The Stanley Kubrick movie about going to Marine boot camp. Okay. I love it. 30 seconds ago, I had this, the name of this movie on the tip of my tongue. And now, I can't think of it. So, anyway. But everybody knows Private Pile, right? He's the guy that shoots himself in basic training. Full Metal Jacket, thank you. And if you haven't seen that movie, it's a great movie. You should go check it out. Watch it at least once. So, Private Pile, I forget the actor's name, is the same actor who plays the guy that runs the tow truck. And he's going to charge them like $100 to fix their windshield or something, and they didn't have it. And the little girl thinks he's Thor. There's your random fact of the day. Private Pile played Thor in Adventures in Babysitting. Same guy also went on to play in like some cop movie. Vincent D'Onofrio. There we go. Yeah, he's done a lot of good stuff. I don't watch TV, so I don't... What is it, CSI or something? He plays in some cop show. Yeah. Come on. Anyway, I don't know why I randomly just thought of that, or why talking about DeLoreans made me think of that, but... So I got a bunch of DeLoreans they made, upgraded for modern times, which is cool. And everybody who purchased one is going to sit on them for 30 years, and then they'll all show up at Mecum auctions and sell for millions of dollars, right? Like, I assume that that's the plan. That is what I would do. Yeah. She was cute, the babysitter. Heck yeah. I don't remember her name, but goodness. These neurons are going to be torn apart by the time this project is done. I think I've mentioned that several times now. They are getting chewed up. Okay, now I got to get this all the way down here. That's dumb though. I mean, if you get the money to waste on just buying cars, you guess. Oh yeah, well, I mean that's how like all the collectors' cars are. Okay, they never get driven. Someone will spend $500,000 on one. You know, they'll drive it around the, the cruising area or whatever, and then it goes back into storage until it needs to be driven again. You know. Like, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. If you ever get lucky, and some poor schmuck has one stored in his barn, and you come across it, you'll want to pick that up if you can. It's like, I don't know. There is a sense of preservation. Like, the new DeLoreans, not so much. The older DeLoreans, for sure. Okay, and who else is going to do that but people that have the money to do that? I'm a long way off from being able to store a bunch of high-priced cars. And by a long way, I mean that's never something I'm going to be able to do, I don't think. Unless my luck severely changes somehow. Oh, come on. This does not want to slide down. What's called the Alpha 5? What'd I say? Your money's enough, you can store a $60 push mower. Heck yeah. Oh, okay. The new DeLorean. There we go. Come on. Cooperate. It's like I don't get jealous of too many people's collections, Like now that I understand like what passion is, when people have passion about something and why they do something, it's because it gives them dopamine, I guess. Essentially. What was I gonna say? I had a thought, now it's gone. I don't get jealous of other people's stuff or collections or anything. But I did see I think it's the most complete Lord of the Rings movie prop collections. They had everything in this collection, right? And a lot of them were from the original prop, like not Weta Productions, not the original props themselves. They were like United Cutlery did a lot of recreations of the blades in Lord of the Rings reproductions, right? And they had a lot of those. You got $15K power chair. Your insurance paid for most expensive item you own, yeah. I'm going to fight with this later. Not on stream, because it's taking too long. Actually, it's kind of good right there. I can fit 1, 2, maybe. I'll fight with them later. What time is it? 9:40? Let's see if we can get one more ring done while we're chilling here. Make sure they're oriented the right way. Jeep and Jammer, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, so a huge Lord of the Rings collection. A lot of the like one of the things that particular person does is make reproductions of some of the props as well. So like a bunch of the props were original reproductions from places like United Cutlery and like not props directly from the movie, right? And then a bunch were stuff he made, which looked pretty high quality stuff. But then he's got, in addition to the blades, he's got all the helmets. He's got Smeagol in a corner, little statue. Just all of it. It was an amazing collection, and I did feel quite a tinge of jealousy when I saw that. So that's the only time I've ever been kind of jealous of someone else and what they have. It's like, oh, yeah. You're going to order rings today, and TRL has rings that are cut off center for a discount, so you think that'll make much of a difference if you got those. They are on sale due to the defect. I wouldn't get them, just because you're going to end up having to adjust every single ring in order to put it... I don't exactly know what they mean by cut off center, but it sounds like a headache. Like, I'm dealing with a headache from the Ring Lord right now myself, where all of my black and stainless steel rings are out of round, and I've got 27,000 plus of them. So I wouldn't wish that on anyone trying to fix all those rings like I'm trying to do. You bet it would be cool to see. I would just love to go spend an hour looking at it. I think they were going through everything and packing a lot of stuff up for a move. Maybe, I don't think they were selling any of it. So Jeep and Jammer, what are you trying to make? If you don't mind me asking. All right, that's starting to look like something. See, this would almost be farther along if I worked on the cube when I wasn't streaming, right? Oh, the JPL drawstring we talked about. What's the ring size? Off-cut rings for JPL. Off-center cut rings for JPL. For those of you who don't know, JPL is a weave name. It stands for Gens Pinned Linkage, and is just a really cool spiral chain weave that is difficult to do and gives a nice spiral effect. And names don't really have any meaning in the chainmail world outside of, say, weave names like European 4-in-1, because that gives the location, like, where it came from somewhat, and 4-in-1 just means that every ring has 4 other rings going through it. But we have names like Aeroplane and Rhino Snorting Drano and 1 Hour Less Sleep. Those are all weave names, so. If you're just doing a drawstring and you're not, what do you call it? If you're just doing a drawstring and it's not something that's going to be up against your skin, then, I mean, you might get away with that defect, right? But I'm not, I have my idea of what they mean about cut off center. So, I don't know. You might get away with it. It's like anymore, I am all about okay, that's not true. Okay. So a lot of my projects are projects where I am simply using up the rings that I have laying around the house, right? So like these three chains right here, there should be another color in there, right? But I was just using up rings to make this, and I had more stainless steel than I did brass or bronze, and you know, this is what I ended up with, right? But this is not for sale, right? It sits here. I use it as an example to show people what kind of cool stuff you can make, and couldn't they also mean they're like only 9/10 of a ring, not quite full circle? They might, right? That's what I'm like. I don't know exactly what they mean by cut off center. Does it just mean it's not a straight cut, like it's at an angle because the blade was angled a little bit too much? I don't know. I'd want to see the rings before I bought them. And if it's something that you just, you know, it's not a huge number of rings that you just have to manipulate each one a little bit and it looks fine. Yeah, what was I saying? Saying something about quality of rings, right? I want high quality rings for my future projects. So much so that my goal is to have a coiling and cutting set up here at the house so that I can control the quality control, and it doesn't cost me thousands of dollars for some of the projects I want to make. Like this project, if I take it to its extreme, will have over 90,000 rings in it. That is a lot to purchase from any supplier, right? So it's better off for my pocketbook if I can find a way to make my own. And that's my goal. One of my goals. I was hoping to get that this year. Looking like it's probably not going to happen. Unless I sell something. So I'm not prepared to sell stuff yet. We will see. Sent you a screenshot of it. You can see the cut itself is at an angle instead of the normal straight cut in the rings. Okay. So as long as your closures are near perfect and you have a tumbler that can clean up all the edges so that the rings don't catch anything when you use it as a drawstring, then I don't see why not. If it's just that the angle is off a little bit, the angle of the cut. Okay. Oh, okay. I want to do the inside first because that's going to be the most difficult, and right now I have the most slack. So all right. Excuse me. In order for me to be able to afford to do the projects I want to do, it's like I have to invest in tools here for the house that make me capable of doing all things of being a full service chainmail shop, essentially, right? So riveting and welding, anodizing and coiling and cutting. Like, I want to be able to do all that. And that all costs money. It's not a ton of money. It's doable. But yeah. It's not cheap. Just like the more you advance you get in any hobby, like say carpentry, you want to buy a high-end table saw and a dust collection bin or dust collection setup, and then you want a planer and a joiner, and right, all that costs money, and you collect these tools over time. So in order to do all of that and not go broke, trying to make cool stuff. So we got 3 more rings. I can average about 3 rings a stream. It takes about 30 minutes to put these larger rings on. You know, when you add the blackened stainless to it and everything. So it's not. What's 95? Where's my calculator? Calculator. So there's 95 rings in this right now, times 30 minutes apiece equals 2,850 divided by 60. It's 47.5 hours to put all the big rings together, right? Which, when compared to the time that goes in to everything else in this project, that's not a lot of time. Okay. I didn't even think about snagging till after I send the message. I'll have to think about it for a little bit. You're not exactly in a rush to buy rings. Yeah, I mean, do you have a tumbler? If you have a tumbler, or a file, right? Either one of those will get rid of burrs and snags. You'd have to file each ring by hand, which totally does not sound like fun at all. But it would get the job done. And tumbling should do 99% of everything that a file would do without leaving any marks on the rings. So it all depends on how much you want to spend. I think everyone who starts in chainmail, a tumbler should be one of your first investments. That could be a passive project while watching TV or something. Yeah. As opposed to closing or fixing all of the individual black and stainless rings, that's very much, you got to pay attention to what you're doing. Oh, but my point was 47.5 hours to put all the big rings together, right? Not a lot of time. In the grand scheme of things, all the prep work that goes into this and whatnot. Okay? And that's, like, nobody wants to watch me correct all of these rings here one by one. So I don't stream it. All I stream is me putting everything together, because that seems marginally more entertaining. Like The prep work for this is a lot different than the prep work for, say, an inlay, right? Ah. Where are we on here? All right, 9:56. Oh, don't do that. This ring is on the outside, so I don't want to mark it up because people can see this one. Oh, thank you for the tiny dinies. Appreciate it. Rock Pimp, what's going on? Oh, hey, I want to tell you, you still wear your bracelet every day? Right on. Very cool. I usually wear mine when I'm streaming. I've got a pile. I have a pile of jewelry right here. Right? And usually I put it on before I stream, but I forgot. And I try to remember, like, I don't go anywhere. I don't go out anywhere. And so whenever I do end up going out, not much, you just finish your live? Right on. Whenever I do end up going out, like, I have to remember to grab my jewelry before I go out, and I forget it all the time because it's down here. All right, we can get one of these on here. What were you live streaming? What were you doing during your live stream, if you don't mind me asking? Okay. Oh, you're doing wire wrapping. Right on. I got a couple wire wrap pieces. I got some sterling silver necklaces with some wire wrap pieces on them. And they are very cool. I need to sell them, actually, is what I should do. Which would require me making videos about. Here's the thing, right? I am terrible at making videos. Especially with the stuff that I make, right? I try to put stuff out there, and some of it does okay, right? And I go live, and we do okay. And I've managed to gather some traction. But when it comes to making a quality video to try to sell something, I'm awful at it. So I've avoided doing the is this gonna go on? Uh-oh. This might not make the cut. Oh no. Okay, well that's fine. We'll just put one here. Okay. We put one on, we'll put the other ones on later. And I'll fiddle with the black and stainless later on. So, wire wrapping's fun. Yeah, it's a cool hobby. A lot of people make some really interesting stuff out of it. Kevin, how you doing? I'm doing good. I'm just about to get out of here, but so it is 10 o'clock. I'm usually here 8:30 to 10 most nights of the week. It's not as it hasn't been as consistent over the summer. Once the good days are gone and there's nothing else to do, I will be down here more often when, especially when like school starts back up and we get back on a routine here at the house. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, usually most nights of the week I'm chilling here, working on ridiculous projects. And my name's Sean. I run mailworks.com. I design and sell chainmail themed apparel and accessories. And the best place to support the channel is to go buy some merch. There's also like a coffee donation that you can donate. All that goes to helping me fund projects like this, so that I can make stuff and stream me making stuff and introduce people to the art of chainmail, and so that they can find a craft that they love doing and they get dopamine from. That's my whole goal. Bring the world to chainmail. Or bring chainmail to the world. Right now we are working on the third layer. We got these 2 sections down the center and one of the sides, right? And it's coming along. It's getting ridiculously heavy. It's going to get even more ridiculously heavy. But it's a cool project, and I'm enjoying making it. So please like, share, follow, subscribe, join my email list, come to church with me. I don't know. Yeah, like, share, subscribe. You can come to church with me, and we'll hang out on stream and do this stuff. All right. So thanks everyone for hanging out. Oh! I almost forgot. If you made it through to the end of the stream, and you want to help support the channel, and you go to my website, and you want to buy something, if you use discount code LIVESTREAM, you get 20% off whatever you order from my website. That is LIVESTREAM, all one word, all lowercase. Get 20% off your entire order. And that is just for people who hang out throughout the entirety of these streams. It's like my only way of saying thank you for hanging out. I do appreciate you being here. So thank you, and I will talk to you all later, and we'll build some more of this cube. All right. Good evening. Hi, Rob. I'm gonna be leaving soon.